Bird is just trying to convince you to be a gold digger. That's it.
Who's gonna be?
I believe the term is gigolo.
What's the gold digger context? What are we talking about? I lost track.
And who should be a gold digger?
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
Literal.
I mean, everyone's
gold
talking
digger.
about how pretty he is in the comments.
literal gold digger.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's gold in the river.
Yeah, you'll
I live in the right state.
You'll just have moonshine. Problem solved.
Yeah, that's how it works. Comes
All
with
them
territory.
commenters think he's real pretty.
What?
Andrew?
People think I'm pretty? That's weird. I don't know
Remember
how I
when
feel about
the
that.
moment you like showed your face after doing a few voice acting videos and stuff?
Oh yeah, people did comment. It was like, "Wow, you look really good." I'm like, okay.
And then one person,
I guess.
one person did the
Whatever.
awkward split between like, you got a good face and a good voice, but I like your voice better. It's like, then why did you have to say that? Why'd you have to
You
say
gotta
that?
choose.
I just like listening to it, not looking at it.
That's
Like,
that's like
okay.
doing like that's like the one that one person was something like saying like I like sad games, but Andrew's the funny one. I'm like, why would you do that? Why is that comment necessary? That just seems like a rude thing to bring up.
Yeah, it's like why would you it's like you're going to like an award ceremony. You're like, yeah, this studio won an award for doing something, but that guy in particular is the one who won the award. It's like, damn, whoa.
I mean, Metal Gear Solid 5 was good, but really it was all Kojima.
You know, that's the thing, like if it's like, yeah, congratulations to Kojima Productions, but mostly only Kojima, and it's like, I mean, other people work here, man.
All right,
Like,
podcast
Kojima-
officially started. Then we're already on a roll here. Because
I have been
Alright.
recording.
yeah,
I have
absolutely.
not.
Well,
I have
crap.
not, so
well, they're gonna
There we go.
suddenly pop in all of a sudden then because surprise start of a podcast.
Well, everyone just needs to remember what we were just saying.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Are you already?
No.
Are you recording now?
No.
I am. No, what? Come on.
I'm trying
Unfortunately,
to, but
I'm already-
Audacity just crashed.
I'm already predicting that Mr. Kojima's audio and face cam will be lost for this recording, so we can't
Mr.
include him
Kojima.
properly.
I don't think.
Yeah, Hideo Kojima was actually here for this entire podcast, but we just tragically lost all of his audio and video, so we couldn't prove it afterwards.
It was crazy.
That's
yeah,
what-
it was,
that's what I
it
thought
was
was gonna
really
happen.
impressive how you got him to come here in the first place. I mean, props to you. Too bad he will never, ever return to this event.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Andrew,
I
that's
just
what I
thought
thought
it-
was going to happen the whole time we were recording Jackbox with the developers. I thought we were just going to lose all evidence that it ever happened before it hit YouTube.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So I got a game today from a developer. Developer is a fan of mine,
Oh.
Go on.
and they want to play with me as part of it.
Oh, it's
Go on.
adorable.
And it's adorable, and I'm just like, I'm not prepared for this, and my schedule is the shittiest.
I know it's cynical, but from the comments, can you tell if they're genuinely a fan of yours, or if they're one of those people
Yeah.
like, yo, I love your channel, I totally want to do a let's play of my
they
game
started
with you.
talking to me about my Vagante playthroughs.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I have.
Because I got comments like that before for a game, but they were clearly just trying to be a part of the Let's
Yeah, they're
Play that
trying to-
represents their game, so they can be a
Well,
part of the advertising.
So I asked them for a copy, and then they're like, "Oh, whoa, you're the Vagante guy," and I'm like, "Yeah,
That's pretty
That was
That's
good.
what you're known for?
yeah." While you guys were waiting for me to realize that you were all waiting for me,
Yes.
I was playing the new Homeworld game. Any of you guys
Yeah.
play RTSs that much or no?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay, so the very first mission is so before you start the game, it's like you should play the tutorial to understand how to play. All right, cool. I get that out of the way off camera. I start the first mission. It goes into the like half tutorial, half like deadpan like you need to do this mission because the world is doomed and if you don't do it, then we're all dead. But like with that level of delivery, I'm just sitting there for 10 minutes being like, "All right, so you're telling me to go attack something. Awesome. You're telling me to go collect resources. Great. You're telling me how to repair things. Amazing. I've not been talked down to from like a gameplay perspective like that in so long.
It's when
I
you
don't
get
even
the
think like the
territory.
original
press the A button
StarCraft was
to
like
jump.
that.
Yeah. Like freaking we've been playing Dragon's Dogma.
Oh yeah.
That initial segment is awesome. You know, shit's breaking, goblins are everywhere. You fight a chimera at the end, and it's like, by the way, like, you don't need to do these things, but you should probably, like, climb onto the chimera and cut that snake head off, so it stops
you can play that
poisoning you and
segment
stuff.
however you want, but it kind of has almost like a Star Wars text crawl of all the commands in the game and the things you can potentially do.
Like, I actually really like that, because by the third time through it, I'm like, I'm a master of this. But, like, the first time through, I actually felt like I was being challenged here.
Oh, right, because you played the prologue like 3 times now, because you keep starting over.
Yeah. Well, the first time was because all my footage was 15 FPS. The second time was because, I guess this is the second time. I've been through it twice.
Huh.
This would be the third playthrough? No. Yeah, this would be the third time. I've just started over twice.
Yeah, I noticed that I dismissed the Koof companion, and when I went to resummon them, they were suddenly like half the level, and I think female with pigtails.
No, that is definitely male.
It was definitely not the same Koof as before.
No, it changed. It is green, it has pigtails, and a giant mustache.
Yeah, That's okay. I had to get rid of the first version of my horrible pawn clone you've created because he had a horrible chipmunk voice that was just the worst thing to listen to.
So I picked it, and it was just like a high up voice, and I was like, okay, this is fine. Like, slightly annoying, just to annoy Keith a little bit. And then it just went into full on, like, just bad artificial chipmunk, and I'm just
it was the worst severe sound ever.
I know. I turned off voices for a while because I didn't want to hear him.
No, I didn't either. I took him on one mission to go find the witch, basically, and then immediately disbanded him, so he lasts about 25 minutes of a 30-minute episode.
Well, this one, apart from looking horrendous, should serve you fine.
Oh, Jesus.
That's what I hear. That's what I like to hear from all the brothel girls.
Madame, bring me your most serviceable girl.
I mean, but the problem is, I specifically created this one to annoy Keith and named it after Keith. So it's like creating a shitty clone of Keith and being like, "Have fun," and he's just like, "I don't wanna."
Like you took a picture of me and then inverted the colors in Earthen View and then melted it on a candle. and that's what this is compared to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what a art degree will allow you to do.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, God.
I mean,
it's a statement
you've seen my Dark Souls faces.
Capitalism.
Oh, yes. So, I guess this is the podcast is officially started at this point. I don't know.
I'll figure it out in editing, you know?
Okay.
I'll figure it out in editing.
Good luck, Keith.
I'll piece it together. We can't keep starting over.
I kind of missed the boat on what even Dragon's Dogma is.
Okay, so I'll contextualize this stuff because it's basically a Western-style RPG. It got a lot of comparisons to Dark Souls early on because it has a few systematic comparisons, and also because Dark Souls was brand new when it came out, practically. But
they're also kind of rare, you know, like solid action RPGs. Most of them are kind of like the flighty button mashy kind. Yeah. And this and Dark Souls are much more methodical in their gameplay.
I'm just finding that upon further reflection, the combat style kind of is more reminiscent of Dragon Age 2 than anything, with a more hack and slash sort of
I feel
combat.
I feel like it's a lot closer to Dragon Age 2 and Inquisition.
Yeah.
But
noteworthy thing is you're not clicking the right stick to lock onto an enemy.
I wish you could lock on, though.
I constantly wish you could.
I got fucked by, I think, the Hydra, because I was, like, trying to back away with the shield up, and my character just, like, turns his ass straight forward, and suddenly I receive giant snake to the ass, and it was bad.
So here's my kind of prediction here.
That's the worst place you want a giant snake.
I think Dark Souls changed the future of Western-style action RPGs in that I think ever since that game happened, like, the click something to lock onto your opponent in an RPG, it technically existed before, but I think after Dark Souls it's going to become so standard to the point of, like Halo's 2-joystick first-person shooter controls. Mm-hmm. Like, I think ever since Dark Souls came out, you kind of just have to make your RPG have a lock-on mechanic as part of the combat.
That's not a bad thing, though.
No, it's great.
You know what's interesting about Halo, about the 2-joystick command or control thing, is that actually GoldenEye allowed you to do that.
It did, but it was C buttons. You could C button strafe, and I did it all the time, and no one knew you could.
It wasn't like that. I'm talking. There was actually a control scheme where you held one controller in each hand.
Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't know that one.
You mean like D-pad and joystick?
No, you use the 2 sticks.
There aren't 2 sticks in GoldenEye.
No, you have 2 controllers.
What?
Yeah, you hold one controller in your left. So you have a player 2 controller in your right hand, and it controls one player. Yeah.
like a Wii, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I had no idea. Wow, yeah. When I played GoldenEye, I would use the left hand on the joystick and trigger, and my right hand would be on the C buttons because you could strafe with them. And so I was basically playing it like a Halo back then, but except my right hand was 4 buttons instead of a joystick. But it totally worked. I stomped.
I only played GoldenEye like twice, and I was playing with my neighbor who knew every map like the back of his hand. Would get the golden gun and would shoot me before I could get anything. And I'm like, okay.
So
yeah,
I'm just gonna go outside
multiplayer.
now.
It was fun, but it was not balanced.
It would have been great if like we all had the exact same skill level, so we'd all like more or less just bum rush the golden gun and kill each other on the way. Mm-hmm. But no, I didn't even know how to move yet.
The cool thing about
how
GoldenEye is
guns
just
works.
that its controls are so weird that
They were really weird.
In a
'cause you had
strange
to, like,
way,
the
they're-
shoulder button to do the crosshair thing.
like in a strange way, GoldenEye and Perfect Dark, instead of being dated, although some people will just view them that way and be like, "This is bullshit. This isn't like shooters."
Yeah.
They're almost so different in their controls that it's a different type of game, basically.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like playing
Did you,
Perfect Dark co-op in the hardest difficulty, trying to go through the
I
campaign
tried
and do the
that. It
objectives.
was awful.
It's fascinating, like the way the game controls.
How-
Like your gun is not locked to your camera in a shooter.
How many console FPSs actually existed by that point?
No, hardly any.
They just
At that point,
there were a ton.
Not a
It's just
lot.
people didn't like them that much.
Yeah. Not
There-
not a lot
I
of
guess not
memorable good ones.
I guess not a ton in comparison to any time after that, but there definitely existed. They were just weird because no one agreed on good ways to make them. So everyone was just really good at making platformers. So that was most of video games.
Did you
So, like,
ever-
It's true.
there was 2D platformers, and then 3D games came out. So then it was like, now the platformers are in 3D, and you collect 100 things in every level.
Yeah. Did you guys ever see the gaming in the Clinton eras series?
Oh
No,
yeah,
no.
I
Never
saw
heard of
one or two of the
His-
episodes of
one,
that.
One of his videos, he talks about GoldenEye, and like one of the offhand, he makes this really great offhand comment of saying like nobody cares about multiplayer because that's not really important, but we couldn't test it anyways because we only had one controller. And I was like, I feel like you're more salty about the fact that it was included in the game versus like it's not very important. Like, but he like basically like berated GoldenEye for being a really shitty game for a lot of like really like really weird reasons.
They didn't know.
Like,
Well,
he-
they didn't know what to make good back then. Like,
Well,
Yeah.
he was like upset that it followed the movie.
oh,
Like he was like, well, why would I play a game based on a movie? I just watched the movie, and I'm like, oh my god, do you not understand what video games are for? And he's like, I really don't like the fact that you can't just when you're looking down, you have to look down and pick up a weapon. You can't just walk over it and pick it up. I'm like, that's not how bodies work. You don't just walk over weapons and they just
to be fair,
magically
that's
appear
exactly
in your hands,
how
asshole.
games work now.
This is true.
In every shooter, except for maybe like Fallout and games where you are supposed to stare at the floor all the time, like Bioshock and Fallout. Like aside from those games, you do just walk over stuff and get them.
It's super
Yeah, but-
awkward to do it otherwise. And like from a multiplayer perspective, imagine if you had to look down to see the gun.
with a controller,
Yeah.
specifically a
ugh.
Well,
GoldenEye controller, where you have to
with your C sticks.
yeah.
Like,
Because with a game like Perfect Dark or GoldenEye, you had to point your gun at the bottom of the screen and to make your screen start scrolling like you're playing an RTS with a mouse. That's
Isn't that how
controls
FPSs
work.
with the Wiimote work too?
Yes.
Yeah, like in the center of the screen, you have like your aiming zone, and
I
then
tried
towards
that.
the outer edges, that's how you like look around and stuff.
yeah.
Wasn't there like
Yeah, the Metroid
there's
games and stuff for the
there's
Wii that had
Metroid,
multiplayer,
exactly.
they were basically the continuation of the control scheme from Perfect Dark, which was baffling and crazy and amazing in some ways.
Yeah.
It kind of works in Metroid. I tried a different game called, I want to say it was like Fuse or something.
Uh-huh.
It was like this really bad first-person shooter, and they were like hyping it up to be like the next Halo, but for the Wii. And I tried it, and like Shell and I were doing like a 1v1 deathmatch just to try it out before we like played the campaign mode. We couldn't turn properly, so we just like bumped into each other, slowly started turning towards each other, ended up like rotating past each other, and then I fell off the map and turned off the Wii.
sounds about right.
Sounds about
It was
right.
not
yeah.
fun. And then I watched her play Metroid, and I'm like, holy shit, this is like actually good controls. Why did nobody do this?
I don't know. I still can't really use a controller to be nearly as accurate as I can with keyboard and mouse.
Well, you'll never be able to.
Yeah.
Like, there's some people that can be that good, but, like, there's a reason why they don't connect Call of Duty multiplayer to
PC across
PC
the
to
Xbox.
console, yeah.
I will say, I was playing Halo with some friends in high school, and I had a friend of mine who was an extremely good shot with a sniper rifle, and I started screen watching him a little bit just to see, like, man, how does he aim that quickly? Fucking aim auto assist, gigantic hitboxes and shit like that. I felt so cheated when I realized how exactly, like, sniping works on the console games.
Yeah.
What's crazy is that trend's actually continued further in that direction.
Yeah,
so that
it
now,
has.
like me and Andrew did that Unfairnament series where we would just force people to play random games against each other without any context, basically. So we took two people who play Call of Duty games all the time and had them face off in Halo 2 for the original Xbox, and they couldn't aim at each other. They were literally in the same room with each other in freaking midship, a tiny purple level, and they were running around in the room shooting walls and stuff and not each other, because in Call of Duty you press the iron sights button to automatically aim at your opponent like you're playing Grand Theft Auto 3.
That's kind
like
of
that's what
amazing.
Call of Duty is compared to like Halo. Like Halo is the hardcore shooter of console games now.
Yeah, that's weird.
It
At
really
at
is.
least in Halo you have to shoot at people. There's like a little bit of aim correction to help make up for a little bit of precision, but you still have to shoot people with the crosshair by comparison.
Yeah.
So, shall we re-rail this podcast and get to some of our viewer questions? Because I have one, and you also had one from comments, I guess, Keith?
Oh yeah. Well, actually, I never finished contextualizing Dragon's Dogma.
Yeah, that's true. We did kind of get off
we just
topic.
said Western RPG with controls and stuff. But
And now we're on
the
to
important
Halo.
the important thing about Dragon's Dogma is the fact that it has a 4-player party that consists of 3 NPCs. So what you do is you make a main character from scratch, like you do in a lot of Western RPGs, where your character's not really a set in stone character, and then you like 40 minutes into the game, you make a second character, which is called your pawn, and it's sort of this kind of like emotionless guardian character that follows you around, and you also have control over as a full character. But then you go to these stones where you summon pawns from other people's games as your other 2 party members. And then people will actually recruit your pawn into their game, and there's like benefits for them going on adventures because your pawn can actually learn details about quests that you haven't been on yet.
Which is how Wander made the Koof.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So that mechanic and the grapple mechanic are the 2 noteworthy things in this game.
The
the
grapple
grappling
mechanic
thing is you
is
can either
so good.
Yeah, you can either pick up if it's smaller than you or your size. If it's smaller than you can pick it up and throw it. Like goblins, you can literally pick up and chuck around, which is hilarious.
Yeah, I've been tossing them off cliffs.
If it's like a human-sized opponent, you can like sneak up behind them and grab them like
You full
Metal Gear
Nelson
Solid
them.
style, so people like kill them off your hands basically.
Yeah.
You can pick up explosive barrels and rocks too, but then if it's something huge like a chimera or a hydra, if you grapple them, you can literally start climbing up them Shadow of the Colossus style and try to like hack off individual
various
limbs and
parts.
stuff.
That sounds awesome.
Yep.
That's
Other
So,
than
sounds
that,
really
it's
good.
an RPG,
So,
but it's
even
a cool mechanic.
beyond that, even beyond like going up to different like vulnerable parts, so the Cyclops will frequently do like stomp attacks. There's a Cyclops enemy; it's pretty big. If you leap up and grab its leg as it's like lifting its leg, you knock it over, and then you can biff it in the face a bunch, and then grab the face as it's getting back up, and then biff it in the face some more.
Yeah.
Like, it feels so good, and I'm floored that no games do this, because, like, imagine in Dark Souls if you could, like, hop on top of, say, the Ancient Dragon, so instead of him breathing fire on you, you're trying to, like, scuttle around and avoid whatever.
I just
Well, your
imagine
buddies
that
are, like,
if you
hacking
climb
at
on
its
top of the
limbs.
ancient dragon, he flies up in the sky and just does like a barrel roll.
Oh, yeah.
It just dumps
I'm
your
sure
ass
Dark
off of
Souls
that-
would just,
that
like,
Kame
dick
house.
you over way more.
Nah, I think that grappling mechanics and like really strong things like that really push games towards what they're trying to achieve. You know, you want to have these really epic feeling moments where it's like a really small hero and this gigantic mythological beast, and you have to like climb on top of them and stab them in their face, basically. And you know, the problem I have with Dark Souls, for example, is that you're fighting this thing that's 50 feet tall and you kill it by stabbing it in the big toe 90 times.
Yeah.
And that slightly breaks the immersion for me. So it sounds like this game, Dragon's Dogma, really nailed managing to make it feel as epic as they were trying to make it feel.
It's a little bit janky, but
Okay.
yeah. They definitely do the big monster fights better in terms of, like, immersion.
You can definitely still shin kick Dragon's Dogma bosses to death.
Yeah,
Go
it just
figure.
takes longer.
Okay.
Bloodborne actually took
really
it a
wish-
step forward in the right way also in that aspect where a lot of the really good ways to hurt Bloodborne bosses were to trigger a moment of weakness where you could stagger them.
Yeah.
And then when they were vulnerable, a lot of the attacks there would involve like an animation where you're just obliterating their head or something.
Yeah, which is really cool. I really want... I got 2 points here, but I really want procedural damage, so if you hack on the limb enough, it falls off or something.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, I think I'd be more okay with that
That's
from, like, a
hard.
Dark Souls perspective. It's
That's-
really hard,
yeah.
but
From a programming standpoint, that
That's
just sounds
actually
like awful.
the boss
It's
called the
really
Rotten
hard from
does that.
programming.
really?
In Dark Souls 2, the boss called
Yeah.
the Rotten.
Right.
It's
You can
hard
cut his
because
arm off.
he dies a little too fast, but yeah, you can actually make his arms.
I'd
if you attack his
forgotten about
arms, they
that.
actually fall off each individually.
You can do that with the Lost Giant or the Last Giant too.
and,
Well,
and that's
no, he
what
just rips his
that's what a lot
arm
of
off.
bosses
No,
do.
you can actually chop his arms off. It's really hard to do. I saw somebody do it in a YouTube video. You can only do it when he does. It's so rare that you actually get a chance to hit his arms. But if
Yeah.
you do hit them enough, he actually like can't rip his arm off because he loses his other arm.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah, you can
Yep.
you can
That's
definitely take
interesting.
the limbs off the last giant and a few other enemies.
But, like,
you can take the
imagine
tails
if
off
the
of like
boss
20
just
Dark
had...
Souls bosses.
Imagine if the boss just had, like, one big health bar, and then, like, 7 other health bars, so, like, leg. And if you
Yeah.
just do enough damage to the leg... It's not that the damage is procedural, like, you're cutting bits off programmatically, it's just, like, they have a stump pre-existing there and a leg pre-existing there, and they're just kind of stitched together, or, you know, the model changes when you cut the bit off. Because I know it works that way in Monster Hunter, but it's only, like, certain parts, and I think it would be really nice if, like, you specifically are aiming at this one dude's leg, and suddenly he's legless Pete. And suddenly the boss becomes trivialized because you were that focused on one specific section.
But then you have to program the behavior to model all those different states you can be in.
Yeah, all the
and
different
that's where it
animation
becomes
types.
really. Yeah, the animation state
That's
machine
true.
actually isn't so bad. It's literally just programming the behavior to change, and
Because like now, when like the
yeah.
enemy loses an arm or a leg, and which
Right.
leg, and like all
yeah,
it gets,
so you just have this really weird state machine where it's like, okay, if I'm missing, and it blows up in complexity really fast, where it's like, if you're doing this attack and you have one leg, then this should be the result of it. But if you have 2 legs, then it should do something more like this.
At that
Yeah.
point, you are
Stuff like
kind of
that.
asking for the level of logic in the character design that you expect that the game actually normally only demands from the protagonist.
Right.
Of like,
It
how do I
really
behave
does
with these
approach that
17
sort of
different weapon
complexity.
sets and stuff.
That's true. Okay, I'd still like it if more enemies had at least one weak point that you could
Well,
hack off
yeah,
and deny
and a lot of them
something.
We'll get to that point
surprisingly.
in a couple more years, like 10 years.
Yeah.
That's going to be stuff that's pretty much
A
built
couple
into
more
engines
years,
and will be pretty
10
handled.
years.
Yeah, that's
mean-
a couple.
you know,
The other point I was going to make is, you know, we mentioned Shadow of the Colossus, we mentioned Dragon's Dogma, we mentioned Dark Souls having an influence on Western RPGs. Problem is, I don't actually see that being as true as MMOs being the main influence on, like, RPGs, which is pissing me off a little bit.
why?
Just because MMO combat is really boring, but, like, a lot of people have been making RPGs that are, like, sort of MMOs. Like, they were going to be an MMO, and then
Xenoblade
they...
Saga, Dragon Age Inquisition.
Like, Xenoblade's a little bit easier
Fallout
just because it was kind of a fun game. Like, I was already used to the combat system and I enjoyed it, but it really did feel like it was built to be an MMO at first, and then they were like, no, never mind. And so the story felt like it was made out of cardboard.
There's definitely a lot of
which
games now where
sucks.
they just make a giant map and then fill it with enemies and generic quests that
Yeah.
take up more time. So in a weird way, games
Yeah.
are becoming more and more like Assassin's Creed. And I don't think
Yeah.
anyone really wants that. So it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
When you enter a game like
I like the idea of a big open living world, but they don't do that. It's just usually
Yeah.
a bunch of hot spots with events and side quests to clutter it up. I mean, Saints
And
Row
a
4.
lot of trails between them.
Like what?
Yeah.
What game ever
Nothing.
feels like it has a living world anymore besides like, Witcher 3?
GTA.
GTA.
But does GTA even though? Because GTA,
Yeah. Like GTA, like people are
I
doing
would say
things.
GTA. Yeah.
The problem with
Like, at
GTA
least-
is that it's convincing on a macro scale.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how you can look at SimCity, SimCity 2012 or whatever.
Yeah.
And if you're not following the individual characters, it looks like it's a real city that's working properly. But if you're on a
Sort of
micro
like
scale at all,
Oblivion, too.
it like
Same
tends to shit
thing.
itself. And like the problem
Yeah.
with GTA is that like literally like standing in a hallway or like on a sidewalk, someone will assault you because they get mad at you because you're near them, even though they walked up to you. Because like everyone's mad at you
Yep.
all the time. People randomly
Well, welcome
deck you
to
in
like
the face.
New York City or San Andreas. Like those.
It's mostly because they have this philosophy of stupid shit equals fun,
Yeah,
and they've kind of always
it's
have
true.
had that.
but like it's
And
basically a situation
it's
where
not wrong.
you can launch GTA 5 and stand still and then get arrested. As a
Yeah.
series
I
of
would
events
argue-
that happen with the world just doing things to your character, basically.
Yeah, but
I would argue though that like Grand Theft Auto isn't really like a living world. Like how often do you see a person, come out of their house, hop in their car, drive to their job, get out of their job a couple in-game hours later, drive to McDonald's, stop for
I mean,
a
but that's the
burger.
thing. That people do that. Like you can watch people get into a taxi cab and drive off, and
Yeah.
like they're going to a destination, and like that's
and then the second they disappear behind a tree, you never see them again.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
like,
but I mean, there's only
I would
so
like
much
to
you can
be able
ask.
to stalk
There's
a
some
dude
amazing
and
videos
see
of
what
that.
he does over the course of his day.
Well,
but like
you can
most
do
of the
that
time,
though. Like you can
Most
follow
of the
that
time-
guy in the taxi cab,
Yeah.
but
Very
you just can't let
closely,
him get
though,
away
or
from
he'll
you.
disappear
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like I'd want to run into like this soccer mom in her van like 2 minutes later. There she is again, still on her way to the school to drop her kids off.
I will say GTA
mean, I guess-
5 is a more convincing simulation than
Yeah.
Fallout.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely. Fallout was just
Fallout
I mean
doesn't
that
make.
was just
I'm
event hotspots and
I'm about
Small
70
enemy
episodes
strongholds.
now into Fallout 4, basically, and I'm just getting mad at all the characters who speak. Just all of them, because like the game keeps making you go into these headquarters for various factions to do anything, basically. And so like I'm dealing with the railroad for example, it has one entrance into their base, and there's just people in every direction in this relatively dense room. So you're entering the radius of like 5 characters per moment as you walk through the room. And if you enter anyone's radius in a Fallout game,
They start talking to
immediately
you.
talk to you as if you were obviously
Yep.
talking to them. And they're
I
rude to you.
hate that.
Like, God damn it, I'm busy. Can't you go bother someone else? And I'm like, who are you? Like sometimes I literally don't know who the person is yet,
Yeah.
and they're mad at me for
I have
bothering
that
them. And I'm
problem
like, I
just
didn't even
walking
look
into-
at you yet.
I have that problem just walking into Diamond City. The NPCs walk by me and they're like, generic NPC dialogue.
Oh, yeah.
And
Someone
sometimes
steal
I've
your
had
sweet
3
roll.
Well, sometimes 3 people walk past me at the same time and say the exact same gossip.
Yeah.
But there's not enough of it to keep it
Yeah.
interesting. And they say it simultaneously.
I
So
mean,
at one
Wander,
point,
it is the wasteland. There's not that much going on.
but you have 2 people, a man and a woman, slightly desynced from each other, talking about where's Nick gone, more or less. And it sounded really freaking weird because, like, at first it was completely synced up, and then it, split off because they're different people and the voice acting was different. And I was just like, I'm not okay with this.
What's rough is none of it's contextual either. So, like, in the railroad, someone was testing a gun. So they test the gun, something goes wrong, something kind of blew up, and he's like, ow, my arm, and he's holding his arm. And then he's like, what? Then they say something like, man, Diamond City is really run down these days. Like, literally a second later, they just turn straight towards me and gossip at me, and I'm like, dude, you just got blown up, kind of. Like, what the f-? But immediately, there's no personality or character to anybody. There's no continuity. Like, people
No.
don't even know to just, like, say, maybe shut up for 5 seconds after this thing
know-
happens. Like, it's the same thing that happens in the opposite fork there with, like, Wasteland. In Wasteland, if you ever accept a quest from anybody, the exact moment you finish the dialogue, a pop-up box shows up from a little quote box pops up over their head that says something along the lines of, like, man, you haven't gotten that thing yet? And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, a millisecond happened, and
Yeah.
the game's already broadcasting that message that they should know better than to give me already. Like, just give it a
Yeah.
basic timer at least before the first time that message pops up. It's rough.
There's a lot of
Like,
with with Fallout specifically, I ran into the issue of like I fixed the wasteland by building enough cities that are stable on their own. And then like every time I show up in the city, people are like, "Oh, there's this problem. We don't have enough of this." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I built this entire Minuteman network of other cities that you can communicate with to get fucking supplies from. Like, why don't you people communicate? Why do I have to be the damn postman?"
You know, I really want to play that. Fallout 5, your character doesn't matter. The game will solve itself whether or not you're there. So, like, say if it's Fallout 4 all over again, you have the settlement. Say your character's not there. What's-his-face still sets up the settlement, starts building it up without you.
Does it?
Yeah. Preston just does it.
Fallout 5, Preston does it.
But, like, I imagine it if, like, the characters weren't just, like, prop things, but they actually had, like, behavior. So if you just spend all of Fallout resting in bed over and over and over again, eventually Preston takes over the entire, Commonwealth as,
I would
this,
just
Legion General thing.
Set wait to 100 years.
I would almost say it would be better to, like, I want to play Fallout 5 where I just play as dog meat.
That'd be kind of
That'd
fun.
be fun.
No one talks to you.
Yeah, because no one talks to you. You're just a dog. So no one bothers you at all.
Island, but post-apocalyptic.
Yeah,
That's your
it's
default.
like I'm playing. It's like Homeward Bound apocalypse style.
I would
As
play
long as
that
it's not
game.
Airbud Fallout Edition. I don't think I want to play
Jesus.
that.
Like one,
Oh
we
my
actually
God.
play all these
In-
games.
I would totally play Airbud Fallout Edition if it was something along the lines of, like, Blood Bowl, but good.
I'll only play it if you use the NBA 2016 engine, like,
Yeah.
It's very
but
specific.
with dogs.
I would love to play like a simulator and an Airbud sim game.
Oh no.
That sounds awesome.
You have to
It
manage
doesn't
the
even have to
Airbud
be.
team.
It doesn't even have to be a
You know what? No, that would be a great indie
post-apocalyptic.
game.
Yeah.
You're trying to accurately portray what would happen if a dog was on an NBA team. And so, like, the dog's trying to dribble and it's just awful. And, like, you're just trying to not get in people's way and hope your teammates can win without you for the most part. And, like, it's only one mission long because there's no way you can win a, like, serious basketball game where one man is a dog.
It
Well,
sounds like a perfect indie jam game.
Yeah.
I feel
Probably
like it'd be great
exists.
to. It's like I would
Probably.
like it to be a game where it's you have to like get a dog scouted by the NBA. Like you have to make a dog play so well that he gets
Like it's a
scouted by the
realistic
NBA.
simulator. The only choosable character is a
Oh
dog.
my god. It's
Oh,
called like
so-
Airbud Underground or something.
You're not even playing the games. You're just, like, managing it somehow and, like, kind of
Yeah.
background RPG statistics and, like...
A
Exactly.
management
Oh my
game where you
God.
manage a team of dogs trying to play basketball. Coach mode from like a Madden game, but with dogs.
I would
Or
almost be
just,
willing.
like, various things. Like, one of the players is an anthropomorphic washing machine.
He just like rolls the ball around and shoots it out into the goal.
Exactly.
So the top search result I got was the strange story of the pro basketball player who broke his leg and made a video game that's GTA with dogs.
What?
What?
Wait,
That's what I got for trying to look up looking up basketball dog video game.
oh, I thought you. I thought you like just
It's
went
like a
on like
giant
Google
okay.
open
News.
world of cell shaded dogs. It looks like an iOS game.
Oh, yeah, that's better than what I do. I just go on Google News and I click like top news articles, and it's always just the worst stuff.
We live in
Yeah.
a strange world. I
Yeah.
was
Really
the
do.
world's first professional Iranian basketball player to ever play in the USA. And then he broke his shit in
wait.
2011
Wow.
and made this dog game. All right. This is
Well, with that, let's segue
happened.
into
Oh, yeah, how
your
you taking that?
questions. We have to do that at some point.
Oh yeah, right. So in our first ever podcast, we got a question regarding D&D basically. And it's kind of a question I'd expect to get because we talked about D&D and it's like the basis of a lot of the RPGs a lot of us have played, but a lot of people have never played it before and don't actually know where all this starts kind of. So basically the comment says, I'm genuinely curious about what D&D entails. I've heard good things about it but never specifics. I have no idea what the Dungeon Master does, what the parameters of their work is. I have no idea what there are for stats customization. even though I've played all these
man.
RPG points games before. And,
Oh
like,
man,
and
This
he's
is a
heard
big
like
question.
he says, I heard there's like a map, some books for reference, and some dice for RNG, but that's about it.
I mean,
All right. Well, every D&D game, there's only one campaign and there's only one map, and you pick one of 3 classes. You can either be a bowler, an umbrella smith, or a lollipop salesman. And the idea is you need to go around and find all the treasure that was left behind by your great uncle
All right,
Schmedley.
Bird.
Yeah.
When I'm DMing, you are a lollipop salesman. I'm gonna remake your character. You're going to be a commoner lollipop salesman. Everybody else gets to be barbarians and shit. You're the lollipop
I
salesman.
want to be
Good
a
luck.
lollipop salesman.
Good luck.
I'm
And you
not
can
gonna be
only
a
buy
lollipop
lollipops.
salesman.
You can only buy lollipops because why the fuck would a lollipop salesman have armor?
no. Could I be an arms dealer, but I only sell actual arms?
Yeah, how are you gonna get a good supply of arms?
Cannibals.
Because then I could just
Okay.
slap enemies with arms.
Well,
Okay, so
anyway,
for an
so for
actually
real
serious
answer.
non-bird
Jesus.
catcher answer. Okay.
That happened.
I just saw something else. Okay, so D&D is a loose set of rules that most people tend to ignore, but like it depends on the edition you're looking at. Let's take 5th edition because it's probably the best for most people by now. There's the Player's Handbook, DM's Guide, Monster Manual. Those are the 3 books that you pretty much need to play. Luckily, there's like a system reference document online, so you can actually get by without any of them if you're really, really like
You gotta know what to look
stingy.
for. You know?
Yeah,
it's a
it's
little rough.
hard without them, but it's useful. But usually, you have one person being the dungeon master. They are the game. The players just kind of interact in the dungeon master's universe. So imagine if you're sitting at your computer, you have like a vague idea of what you want to do, and your computer's actually a person, and he's telling you what you can and can't do.
Yeah. In the in-game explanation and the way that the game is
Monsters,
designed,
combat, everything.
is that the DM is God, like
Yeah.
Alpha, Omega, God.
Yep.
At the end of the day,
And so-
Dungeons and Dragons is like, it's like half a game, but more importantly, it's like half a collaborative storytelling experience.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's
Like you're all getting together not just for the interest of winning, but because you all want something cool to happen, basically. But in order to make that cool thing feel worthwhile and like it matters and why anyone even cares about it afterwards, as opposed to just making shit up on the fly or whatever. You have that really complicated set of rules because that creates a world that's concrete, and when there's rules, then there are constraints, and there's things that can be expected to happen, and then that creates a situation where when something unexpected or really lucky, for example, happens, there's context for it that gives it weight. So like it creates these life and death scenarios or complicated problems for you to solve, so that there's stakes and reasons to work together and all the ingredients you need to basically lead to like a story happening and like something that you would actually talk to people about afterwards and say like that time that thing happened, and you have like these actual memories as a result because it was something cool.
Yep.
As opposed to
like-
punching a guy for 500 damage and he falls over and then you win.
Yeah, that's boring. Just reminded me of one of my favorite items ever got in a campaign. Could hold an infinite number of things, but it could only be corpses and like whatever they were wearing and whatnot.
That's
just a
glorious.
corpse
That's
bag.
horrifying.
It was horrifying, I know,
Yeah.
but like
Oh,
every
man.
time we killed something, I would just cram it in the bag. And at one point, we murdered a whole town, and I crammed the whole town's worth of people into the bag. And I slowly switched the character over to be evil and a necromancer.
And when
And
people,
I would just upend the bag on enemies, drowning them in like rotting organic matter because there's
Ew.
diseases,
horrifying.
and smell, and whatever.
Ew.
So at one point we were fighting something really hard, and I'm like, no, you know what? I'm just upending the bag, and then I animated it, and they just died because they couldn't move because it was just a sludge of not good.
That's
was
the
awful.
grossest fucking D&D story I've ever heard.
There's a reason why I don't play necromancers, but it was awesome.
What makes D&D really special is that almost everything that's memorable and interesting out of it is entirely an emergent thing. There's
Yeah.
not like any point where you're ever forced to like play a game per se.
Oh,
like
yeah.
it just kind of
Well,
happens.
there are. I've had DMs that have been like so
Yeah.
rigid to the rules that nothing interesting happened.
And those,
so I
are
spent the
DMs
entire
that don't
time
understand
napping.
what D&D is.
Yeah.
Basically.
Right,
Yeah.
but the
Usually
point
I
is
quit
that
those
it's
pretty
supposed
fast.
it's supposed to be structured enough that you have the freedom to do whatever.
Like a good example
much.
of D&D and how it can be better, for example, than video games was actually Wander and I were playing Divinity Original Sin last night, and there was a guy who needed to escape a jail cell, but he lived in there so long that he's grown since he went through the door originally because he's an
Yep.
orc and he can't get out. I teleported him out, and he disappeared, and the game broke.
Well, he wanders around for a while, being like, "I can't wait until I'm free and can see sunlight."
Yeah, he was still
As he's
talking like he
wandering
was still stuck
outside
inside.
his cell. Like he walks by a bunch of imprisoned people, and he's like, you know,
I wish I could get
freedom
out of
will
this
come
cell
someday.
somehow.
And then Keith like turns around to figure out what I'm doing, turns back around, and the guy's gone. So we like
Yeah.
walk outside. It's like, is he here? No.
Like he was literally
just
walking,
disappeared from
he
the
was walking
universe.
in Wander's direction, and I walked down that hallway and just hit Wander without hitting him, and I'm like, where'd he go? He just blanked
Yeah,
out of
he's gone.
existence.
I think one of the things that really makes D&D work in ways that video games can't work is that D&D feels like it has a lot more permanent consequences. You know, with a video game, if the main character dies, that's the end of the game. You just try the level over again. But with a D&D campaign, if somebody dies, you incorporate that into the story and you move on. And that makes stuff...
I get real angry
really
when my
matter.
characters die, though, because
Yeah, it
it's usually
sucks.
because of bullshit reasons more than anything else.
It's usually if a character dies, it's because the DM messed up.
So first time I ever played 3rd edition D&D, we were pretty close to the rules. I have a barbarian, dwarf barbarian, massive amount of HP, like really tough dude. Gets critted by a battle axe, all of his health gone, one go, dead.
Yeah.
I was just sitting there, just like eyes blank. This is like me, 3rd grade, just like the world
Well,
is hell.
they sent someone too strong for your character to handle.
It was a goblin. It was a goblin with a battle
Well-
axe using 2 hands. It was so bad.
I had
You know.
10 sessions into one character, they just suddenly died of mummy rot. And
Yeah,
I was just
okay.
like, alright, I guess that's over.
Take a bath or something.
Guess I'm making a new one.
I had that happen to my character, except for, isn't there like a rule that you turn into a mummy if you die of mummy rot?
I think
I
it
don't
was
know.
contextualized differently for me, because I think people have
Okay.
even said, people have told me since then, I think that mummy rot's actually supposed to take a while, but I was like dissolving to dust
It's
in the
real
moment,
slow.
basically. So like,
Oh,
I think
yeah.
I think the mummy rot
Unless
was
your
just flat out
constitution
done
was 3 to
wrong.
begin with.
No, because I was like a melee character.
Yeah, that would not happen, because I think
Isn't
mummy
it?
rot's
I mean, if you
supposed
have
to
a
take...
constitution of 3, can't you like not move or anything like that?
No, constitution of,
You're
even at a
vegetable.
constitution of 1, you're fine. Constitution
Okay.
of 0, you just
You
flat
die.
out die.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I thought that there were
Alright.
some consequences when your constitution got that low, like you weren't able to move or something. But okay,
No, you
guess
just
not.
you just suck.
You just
That's
you just
it.
you just have like a no moral backbone.
Like actually,
Well,
I think I have a story that
that's
sort of
wisdom.
shows what was
I
interesting
know.
about D&D and to some extent.
I was making a very very stupid joke.
Did
Okay,
I tell
continue.
the Scorpion Thief story last time? Because we told.
I don't know.
We had a few
So?
discussions about D&D in the first episode, I think. I don't think I,
think-
told this one though.
I mean, I wasn't there for the first episode.
right?
So-
Yeah, 2 of you weren't there.
Yeah.
I guess Wander, tell me if you've heard this one already, because we were
Before we start, I'd just like to mention, mummy rot is 1d6 constitution damage every minute.
oh,
That's
So-
pretty fast.
That's pretty fast, but that's
Okay.
not that.
You can
fast.
work with it. Yeah.
yeah, I don't think
think
we had
anyway.
anything we could do about it. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
No one could heal you?
I don't think
You have to
I don't think you can
remove
heal it. I
curse
think you
or
have to
break
get rid of it.
enchantment. Yeah, you can't heal it normally.
We're talking about characters that probably had like 24 hit points total.
Oh.
So it's kind of a big chunk of health there.
Yeah.
It's a really big disease to have that early on.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You got sent against stuff that was way too strong for your characters to handle.
Like D&D it's interesting because it's so systematic and so rule driven and has so many mechanics to it that it can give weight to basic interactions that otherwise, if you were just like telling a story, you could be like, nah, I got a super shield and whatever, like two people, like kids pretending to shoot each other in the field or whatever.
That's kind of what D&D is like, though, except like you just have to follow the rules of the DM.
Yeah, well, except like all your special tricks are on a sheet of paper and predetermined. So like even if people don't know about them, the DM knows about them because you were like making your character or whatever.
Right,
That's actually a fun thing to do, is keep secrets from other players about how your character works sometimes. But
like Ballard.
there was a cool scenario where we were all in a jungle temple for some important quest reason for the main story, and I just kind of left and took a different path because I was a selfish character and kind of a racist and just wanted to profit off of things. So I just went on my own thinking I could find something cool and no one would know that I found it. And I found this giant vault-looking room after several empty rooms, and at this point, imagine like a giant Mayan temple, and I'm basically on the opposite side of the entire floor plan, where no one would ever know where I am, basically. And I find this ajar door that's huge, but I can't open it for some reason. Like, it's just slightly open and it won't move any more than that, and I can't really see in the room, so I kind of stumble over the pile of crap in the middle, and I'm just stealthing this whole time so nothing would hopefully see me, like doing sneak checks and all that. And when I enter there, I'm inside the room, I get a good glimpse of what's there. Untold amounts of treasure, and also the biggest fucking scorpion that you could ever invent for like a fucking mega shark versus mastodon movie or whatever the fuck. Like a scorpion that's so impossibly huge that it couldn't even leave the room at that point. And at that point I'm like, well crap, I'm in this room, that thing's there, I'm pretty much not interested in any of the money anymore. So I'm doing sneak checks to try to leave the room again and just get the fuck out of there. I literally get just outside the door and I fail a sneak check, like at the last second, where presumably like I've knocked something over or had stepped on a twig step or fool of a took, why don't you throw yourself in next time to save us the trouble type moment. And so the scorpion notices me, and one of its big-ass claws sticks through that gate and grapples me. And there's mechanics to deal with grapple checks and everything, so like this is all mechanically
Grappling
driven.
is so much fun.
So we're doing all these crazy dice rolls of like how much damage I'm taking each turn, basically, as it's basically crushing me. And it literally goes down to the moment where I have like -1 hit points, which means I'm unconscious but not dead, because you die at like -10. And it has a critical fail where it actually loses its grip on me, and I slump onto the floor where it can't reach me. And so my character is now this unconscious character lying just outside of this chamber of this massive scorpion that can't leave. And I'm completely isolated on my own, completely separated from the entire party. And it's just this entire scenario that's insane that you could only establish with this crazy rule set that like makes everything so systematic and interesting like that. And then eventually someone found me on the ground, but like that's the kind of cool shit that like,
yeah,
there's so many elements there that are just nuts.
And it stokes the flames of your imagination, to use the stupidest phrase I could come up with.
You get more, you get way
is.
more nervous about dice rolls in that game than anything else, because of how much. Not even just like it's not even just a matter of like the dice rolls being random, leading to cool things, but like usually it's not that many dice rolls determining the end result of something.
One bad roll can like mess up the cool thing that you've been trying to do for ages.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Like, as opposed to Final Fantasy, where you hit a boss 500 times to finally take it down, a lot of things in D&D are like 3 rolls, basically.
Yeah.
Like, they can go over so much faster.
It really depends on the character.
Depends.
Like, my current character in the campaign we're doing is a wrestler. And so, like, his entire point is to just grapple somebody into submission and not let them ever act. But, of course, every once in a while I get, like, the natural one, and then Bird gets murdered by a horse.
That did happen.
And, yeah.
That did happen.
It sucked, because, like, you know, my job's failed, and the rest of the party is not optimized for combat.
And then you guys switched to Dark Souls 2 and got murdered by more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean...
That's why I became the horse catcher.
I'm glad you were slowly accepting this fact.
It's a spin-off channel origin story.
Nay. Alright, so we got another question.
Damn it, Wanda.
If you want it. It is, if you could live as one character from any game ever made, which character would you live as?
Huh.
Yeah.
One character in any game?
Pretty cute game, or question.
I'm trying to think of a
Character
game
for
where the
anything.
world isn't at stake.
I was gonna say.
Or if it is at stake, you're not really
I don't know.
in that much trouble.
I guess that would be Cooking Mama. No,
Why?
because her life sounds like it kicks ass. She
Ow.
just cook all day.
That sounds like a work. I don't want to do
Bird just
work.
wants to be a domestic housewife. It's okay.
Jesus Christ,
No, I'm
yeah.
just saying you have the least chance of getting your ass handed to you if you're playing Cooking Mama. if you're Cooking Mama, well, I mean, I'm gonna be Lara Croft or Nick Drake. I don't know. I'm
trying
gonna
to
be
think- I'm trying
Gordon
to think
Freeman.
of a-
And I'm gonna get shot 7,000 times. That sounds great and die. Yeah, sign me up for that shit.
Yeah, Gordon
Wow.
being Gordon Freeman would be kind of butts.
Yeah, it would. It
I mean,
would,
imagine
wouldn't
the
it?
just communication problems when you get married.
Get married. How would you even do that? You can't propose.
They do
Alex
Or,
would
I'm
propose,
sorry,
and then it
get
would kind
married.
of the cutscenes would kind of take care of itself as it
Well,
usually does.
you can never acknowledge that you want to get married.
Yeah, they would just hand
You
you a
could
button
nod.
to say, press this button to say yes, and then you would.
Well, you
flick
could
it.
just wave your crowbar vaguely in their direction, and they'd take that as a sign.
Okay.
Oh wait, there's Doctor
hit Alex
Who
in the
video
face
games.
with the crowbar to propose.
But softly.
I would-
Unlike everybody else, you just biffer softly. And she's
trying to
invincible, so it doesn't matter.
Like what character? I don't know. I'd probably just be like Bigby Wolf from Wolf Among Us.
I don't know.
He gets
Oh, you could
real
play,
fucked
like-
up though.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but at
He
least I get to
gets
like kill
so
people.
fucked up.
I don't know. I get good things at the end of the day, though. You
And
know,
from
I
what
get
I've
to
read so
smoke.
far of the comics, he doesn't have a great future coming out for, ahead of him
Eh,
for
it's
a while.
not true. He gets to smoke cigarettes, kill people. That's good enough for me. That's all I
You
need.
know,
in
He has a
life.
lot of bad
There
days
are
in his
better
future.
characters for that sort of business.
Yeah, you can be the Hotline Miami dude. He
there's a lot
smokes
of
a
smokers.
cigarette.
That's lame.
I mean, you could be Snake. Snake smokes a lot.
That's true.
And hell no.
But
Snake
you have to
works
shove
way
the
too
cigarettes
hard.
up your ass first.
I'm trying to think
Also,
of
I'm not, like-
what's some game that has like a happy ending, and everything's pretty cool for a while after that game, and it ends with like someone getting born, because that's the person you should be. It's like just be that person in the new perfect world after all the
What's
bullshit
that called?
happened.
Shadow of the Colossus. You could be the dude that gets born at the end of Shadow of the Colossus.
Except for, like, you're probably
Do you
a
wanna
demon
live in
baby
that
and everyone
world?
hates you.
Well, or I guess why don't you
You
just
get
be
to
the
live in a garden for the rest of your life. Fucking
be-
sign me up.
just be the kid at the end of Mass Effect 3 that's getting the story told to him.
Oh Jesus, the distant future of
Yeah.
question mark.
Whatever. There's no problems no more.
There's literally no certain factors there except for that somehow Buzz Aldrin's still alive apparently.
What?
The ending monologue of Mass Effect 3 is a story being told to you by Buzz Aldrin. Like he actually is the voice actor
Huh.
of the character.
Oh, the voice actor. I was like,
I was
did I
really
miss that
confused.
detail?
Yeah.
There's no good answers to this unless you pick like a casual Wii game where everything's perfect all the time.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
want to be Mario.
Because yeah, I mean that wouldn't be too bad. He doesn't seem to ever actually get hurt for realsies. Like he gets like pretend hurt.
I want to be Ash Ketchum because I get to capture all the Pokemon and be a Pokemon master.
And everything attacks you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you
but
live in a
you-
world with no adults.
Yeah, but who
wouldn't
cares?
mind
You
to be
get to
Ash
beat all of
Ketchum,
them
where
up with
all the people on the
monsters.
street assault me.
I wouldn't mind being like Lloyd from Tales of Symphonia. Things
I
went
never
pretty
played
well
that
for
one.
him in the end. It's real good.
I would be a Prinny.
Wow.
Oh, you're dead.
I mean, it ends quickly. I suppose.
Relatively painlessly, probably.
Wow.
A Marine from StarCraft if we're going for people with a lot of longevity.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, why don't you just be like the SCV guy?
Oh, yeah.
I'm just sitting here wishing that
SCP,
there was.
good to go, sir.
Oh Jesus! I'd be Pequod. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I don't.
Quad.
There's not great people to be in video games.
No, video games
It
don't
sucks to
generally
be
have
everybody.
like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can
That's-
either be boring or dead. There's really nothing in the middle.
I mean, such a huge percentage of video game characters have their deaths cemented in stone, basically.
Yeah.
That's tough.
I mean, you could be the princess from Braid.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
You gotta stalk her for a little while, but I mean, then you get married to a Donkey Kong looking knight dude, and it works out.
Someone's suggesting I could be someone on the Ark in Soma, without spoiling anything, because that's really tough to get into. But You don't want to be anyone in Soma, no
No,
matter the context.
Why would you want to be
No.
anybody in Soma?
Even the people in the arc, even like without even saying what any of that means, there's no good in Soma because you still know things that are awful at that
I
point.
want to be the guy who's has no association with any of that crap, but still living in the
Jesus.
world of Soma.
Yeah, it's not
Like-
great.
Andrew, you could be Earl Harbinger,
Ugh.
leader of the Monster Hunter International and chain smoker.
No.
Badass in a bulletproof Minotaur hide.
Dude, that guy works like so hard though. I don't want to deal with that crap.
Just be the main character of a dating sim like Hoonie Pop.
Oh
No.
yeah, that's
No.
less
No.
Wait,
effort.
but if
That
he
is
does
less
that,
appealing at
if
all.
he does that, then he will transcend YouTube because apparently that's what he's good at now.
That's true. He would get sucked into the TV screen.
I would probably promptly kill myself if
Like
I
a
ever was in
90s
like
cartoon.
if my life that is an anime series called like Data Live where like a guy has to deal with monster girl, like not monster girls but like these crazy powerful girls, and like the way he deals with them is like somebody over an intercom gives him 3 choices to pick from, just like a dating sim. And I was like, that would be the end of my life. I would just be like, I'm out. Nope, I'm not gonna deal with this.
It's like hit on the crazy chick. You're like, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
hit
like-
on her.
That's not a good idea, guys.
Tell her boobies are wonderful.
I'm sitting here looking
ask
up
her what-
Assassin's Creed characters to see if they had good lives.
What? No, they're all historical figures
No, it's
who
not
ended up
great.
dying.
Like Da Vinci dies when he's 67. I'm pretty sure people were mad at him or something.
I mean, people were really mad at Da Vinci and like everybody. Everybody in
Yeah.
history was mad at everybody.
That's true. Right now, the present is always the best time to be alive, no matter when
Yeah.
the present actually is.
I think you
Yeah.
honestly chose pretty well when you said cooking mama.
I think, yeah, everyone's
Not a
shat all
bad
over
place
birds
to be.
idea.
Dude, you don't get to go home though. That's your life.
Ever.
Like every day of your waking moment is cooking.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's
guess
crap.
there's that part.
Like I don't want to do that. You don't even get to eat your own food. You just get to make it. You just have to make food for this invisible deity and a camera.
Can I be
It's like-
can I be Zach in Dead or Alive Extreme?
Isn't that the dude that just owns the island?
Yeah, he just
Yeah.
owns Volleyball Island.
But,
He just
but
owns
doesn't,
everything.
Doesn't like the second game end with him like getting exploded or something? I don't.
He
I don't
survived
know.
it.
We don't need to know
He survived
that.
it. Oh,
Yeah.
You can't
I
kill
thought-
Zach. He's in every Dead or Alive game.
Yeah.
I'm pretty. Yeah. Okay.
They'll run out of black people.
Yeah, that
Only
one.
one.
Wow.
He's the one black character
So
they can't kill him.
true. Yeah.
Unless I don't know if La Mariposa is black or Mexican. You can't really tell because they all have generic anime faces except for Zach's very black guy face. So you can't really tell. Because Zach looks exactly like who is that guy? It was that black guy that was in action movies in the 90s where he had like green hair and shit. Like he looks exactly
Oh, Morgan
like that.
Freeman.
Or Chris Tucker? Talk about Chris Tucker?
No, we should.
That was the 90s and 2000s.
This is dangerous. Let's just stop it. Let's stop kissing black people.
I am lost, but
Are you talking
that's
about
okay.
Jackie Chan?
Yeah, nailed it. Congratulations.
Black-
Yes.
Jackie Chan.
Jackie
the world's
Chan was
most famous
born a poor black
guy.
child.
Yeah.
That was the only black guy in Rush, right?
Yes, he was both of them.
Anywho, so
I mean,
Wow.
any character that is like functionally immortal by the end of the game would be pretty great,
Yeah.
or has like some kind of respawn mechanic that you can just totally abuse.
Super Meat Boy.
the nameless one from Planescape Torment. That worked out well for him.
Jesus.
Any game with torment in the name generally not kind of high on my list here.
They're making
Really?
a sequel to that.
Planescape Torment's a really, really good game.
Oh
There's a-
yeah,
there's a new
absolutely a good
Torment game
game,
coming
but
out
I don't
this
want to
year.
live in it.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't want to live in it either. Because the game ends with the main character going to hell. And
Oh,
hell
shit.
is literally just
Yeah.
beset with an eternal war.
If you could be any video game character, what would you be? Somebody from I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream,
Oh god, no.
where they keep remaking
you wanna
me
be the
until I
rape
lose
victim
track
or the-
of
or the-
what human means.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. No thanks.
I've never played that game.
I haven't either.
It's
I've
really
just heard
old.
enough about the book it's based on to know
Yeah.
it's horrifying.
They made the game worse. They made
wanna
the game
be-
more
Yeah.
horrifying.
I want to be the kid from what's it called? Heavy Rain. The kid that didn't. I want to be the kid that didn't die.
So you want to be kidnapped for like a few weeks?
What?
You want to be kidnapped for a few weeks, basically?
No. Oh yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, I want to be kidnapped for a few weeks, but then like
He also
you're
can die
fine.
in that game.
You can, but you know, the right ending is the one where you save him. So
Literally every character.
be-
That's the good thing about that game is at least by the end, like every single character can die, which is kind of cool.
I want to be the chick from Clock Tower.
No,
Oh,
God.
no.
I want to be the
No.
scissor guy from Clock Tower.
Yeah, no. I want to be the clock tower from Clock Tower. What? Because I don't have to deal with any of your guys' bullshit. I just sit there and go bang bang. It's 12 o'clock.
Jesus Christ. Do we want to do anime follow-up before this gets more out of hand?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
Sure.
So how far did you make it through the recommendations, Bird?
I made it through Gangsta.
All right.
That was the only recommendation I remembered.
Yeah.
So that's what I did.
I genuinely don't remember if the other recommendation was during or after the podcast.
Yeah.
Did you watch anything, Wander?
I tried watching Gangsta. Wasn't that excited about it.
Okay. So
Okay.
So Gangsta, and it's been a little bit while because we took like we
It was
recorded our
about a
last
month
episode
ago.
like 3 weeks ago, and I watched it immediately, and I would have been
Yeah.
on time if we actually had recorded another podcast next
Yeah.
week after
Oh,
that.
well. But we didn't.
Well, we had
Basically-
Christmas and whatnot.
With
Yeah.
Gangsta, I was totally sold by like the animation and the tone and voice acting and so on. Like I liked that. I especially got a kick out of like the protagonist or sort of main character. There's kind of 2 or 3. It's a little hard to
Nicholas
to say who
specifically
Nick is.
it was extremely cool.
Like Nicholas is a mute. Well, like he's not mute. He's deaf and just chooses not to speak as often as possible because he can't enunciate things well, and he just kind of sounds dumb when he speaks. So he just usually doesn't.
Yeah.
But like he's a really like he and his sort of brother, like adopted brother, basically at that point. They're like these nicely developed characters, and then the show introduces a little bit of a threat of like basically everyone like Nicholas is being hunted down by some organization, and that organization is barely even targeting him, but just everyone else more so, and then by extension eventually him basically.
Yeah, all the
And
tags.
then the show ends forever.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the company that made it goes
So-
out of business.
So that's the only unfortunate part, is that it is just a one and done kind of thing.
And not even that, but it
the-
doesn't even have like a finished arc.
No,
Like they start a
it-
big conflict, and then it's such a cliffhanger
Bye.
ending that it
Yep.
literally involves both of the main characters falling in 2 different contexts, and then cut to credits, and it's never coming back.
Yep.
Yeah, it was intended to have 2 seasons and did not get it.
Yeah. So if you want to
but-
finish the story, you have to read the manga as it's going, basically.
Yeah, you can, and the manga is still ongoing. You can read that, and it's.
They've
I mean,
gone through about 5 plot arcs at this point.
Yeah.
The stuff that's introduced in the anime is all tied up in the manga. So if you really wanted to go find it, then there you go.
What's frustrating, I found myself comparing Gangsta to Firefly, not like in like sheer quality or anything, but just that like
but in the cliffhanger,
they
sense.
both have like
Yep.
a 13 episode thing where they introduce some characters and they start giving you some backstory on those characters, and a few characters interact certain ways. Maybe someone dies or gets betrayed or whatever, and then there's kind of a conflict a little bit, and then it just no episodes ever again. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's not even that it gets interrupted. It kind of never starts having a driving force for the story in a weird way, which is a weird thing to happen.
Yeah.
I've only seen it
A
happen
lot
in
of-
those 2 shows, basically, where like Firefly doesn't have a plot, basically.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. Gangsters.
Which is very
kinda weird
sad.
with
And it sucks.
It is-
Just
yeah.
it
It
is.
sucks it for both of them.
They're
quite
both
a lot.
things that are so set to make you care about all these characters and its world and have like a cool premise, and it's all set to start its story, and then it's over.
that. Yeah. It is
I
a.
think-
It's,
I really liked Gangsta. But
I hated its intro.
the character of Alex really, really, really just like never did not get on my nerves. I hated the way she was portrayed the entire time.
Oh, the prostitute character, right?
Yeah.
It was
I'm
just
bringing
so
up the
much
wiki
of like
to tell
this.
who people are.
Yeah, it was so much of like she's like a prostitute, and then like she basically like gets saved from like the life of being a prostitute or whatever, and it just strikes me as being like a really, really, really weird representation of like sex workers and prostitutes. And it kind of just portrays her as like this broken, damaged woman the whole time, and I thought that was a little bit like I don't know.
I found that she was too much like Jubilee, basically. Like,
yeah.
She gets
that's
saved
pretty
by
true.
the main characters at the beginning of the first episode, and those characters have a whole established story and organization, a way they do things day to day,
Right.
and we're getting thrown in with no context, so that
Yeah.
character getting explained stuff is the whole reason we know anything that's going on.
Exactly. Like,
as a
she's supposed
result-
to be the person we identify with.
Yeah, but as a result,
Yeah.
just like Jubilee, she's kind of just in every plot point all the time without
And
having
doesn't
much
contribute
reason to be
anything.
there.
Yeah.
And so she just kind of stands there and looks surprised by stuff a lot. And so they don't, in the context of just the anime at least, they don't get a chance to make her really do much besides be this like girl that doesn't wear that many clothes and is kind of having PTSD flashbacks over what happened at the beginning. And
It's like
Yeah.
drug
stands around.
induced flashbacks or something. It's really
She-
kind of strange.
Yeah, they
it's,
have like a made up drug that makes you think that makes you go insane and kill yourself.
Yeah,
basically.
she's like hallucinating while going
It's
through
a-
withdrawal of like
It's
this
like
weird.
super heroin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a drug that it's supposed to keep you complacent to like your pimp.
Yeah.
But like she becomes kind of more important later on in the manga. Like there's a lot more going on with her because as you saw like at the end of the series, like it shows her brother joining up with the one of the mob families. And so like there's stuff that goes on there. But yeah, for the most part, she was just kind of like she was just there because she just needed to set up for a payoff later, and that because that never happens. It's like, well,
Yeah.
why is this dumb bitch here then? Like she didn't do shit.
And the singing sequence with her at the party was really cringy too.
It was really forced. It was like
Yeah.
let's
So
just give
forced.
you
It was
something
like
to do.
It was like, oh, she has this beautiful soul that's been like hidden and repressed or whatever.
Yeah, it's
And
really generic.
It was really generic and cringy.
I will say that between our viewings of One Punch Man and Gangsta, I've gotten real familiar with the use of the phrase chotomate because they use it every
What does that
10
mean?
minutes in every episode over and over again.
Yeah.
Like,
oh
I'm
wait,
starting-
what from
There's
what
certain
anime?
there's certain phrases that are used so frequently that I'm just picking up on
Yeah.
them constantly. Yeah,
You-
chotomate
the
is
ones
used
you'll learn, like the best ones
nonstop in
are
both
like
Gangsta and it's used like 3 times per episode in One Punch Man.
yeah, like the best one is like bakemono.
I
it's
totally
like-
don't pay attention to the actual Japanese so much, so
You pick up on it after
to
you
tell me what
watch it
these-
for so long.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's not. I'm not picking up on sentences. It's just expressions you hear so often that you can start hearing it. Like,
Yeah,
Jesus
Christ,
if you
Bakuna
start
is
wa-
one of those.
yeah, if you watch
I
Kaiji,
love that.
if you watch Kaiji, you hear Baka now like every 5 minutes,
Every 5 minutes, like
just
Bakuna.
over and over again. 'Cause and then Zawa, 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 Zawa.
what about
Those are that's the best. The like cha 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 cha. You're like, what is wrong with this guy? He's got like a demon whispering to him every time he thinks about anything. It's like, I gotta go to the bathroom. Cha 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 cha.
Are we talking about Kaiji right now?
Yeah, I guess.
I had to look it up because it's a word that the manga artist uses nonstop in the original art, where he just keeps writing the word Zawa over and over again
Yes.
in the background, and it's like a tension sound basically.
Yeah,
But
it's
they
it's
took
an
it literally when they
onomatopoeia.
made it an anime, so you just hear these men, like a chorus of guys in the background going Zawa, 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 Zawa in the background whenever tension happens.
Yeah.
And then
It's-
the words popping up on the screen and everything's going purple.
It's fantastic. It is fantastic.
I know the word opai now.
Well, yeah, who doesn't know Opie?
Yeah.
I mean, especially after One Punch Man, he literally wore a sweatshirt that says Opie with 2
And it had a
tits on
picture
it.
of boobs on it. Yep.
Yeah. You can buy that sweatshirt actually.
Oh, you can? That
Yeah,
seems
you-
nice and perverse.
Oh, it's
I just
amazing.
realized we never
Like,
contextualized Gangsta.
what do you
Well,
mean?
I mean, it's an anime.
Yeah, if you're watching this much still, it's basically X-Men kind of. It's
Kinda,
it
yeah,
has its
that's a
own
fair
made-up world that
characterization.
kind of-
Yeah.
it's got its own made-up world that's kind of in the past, like pre-computer type setting, where the type of place you'd expect people to be driving around with Tommy guns and shit like that. And
Yeah.
It takes place in like 1920s America mobster world.
But it looks like
with like
Venice.
fictional districts and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
But it takes place in like Italy, and there's like super people that are like drug induced superhumans.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like there's a lot
And
like there's
the opening sequence is animated incredibly well.
Its animation
Yeah.
is as good as its music is bad.
Yeah, that's
That's kind of the
absolutely
downside.
It
perfect
has a
way to put it.
fantastic intro that has terrible club dance music with uns going on and some autotune, I think. And I'm like, why is
Oh,
this
man.
happening to me?
If
And
you
then
look
the
up
entire
the,
soundtrack in the actual anime is that over
Yeah.
and over again.
Yeah, the
Like, Nicholas, Warwick.
another one that has an awful, like a new one that started this season is called Dimension W. It has one of the
I
most
like that one actually.
the opener though is like I totally agree that would just be something I'd hear in a club. It just
Yeah.
sounds like
Oh,
club
yeah.
music.
Though
Like
to
the-
be fair, they just have the character blank faced dancing.
Right?
Like that
It's
one
like,
guy.
I was really upset that was like 30 seconds into the opener, character just doing a dance, and I'm like,
No,
get the
I was
fuck outta
totally
here.
okay with that because it was
Really?
completely out of character. So it's just like this ninja
That's-
guy that like
yeah.
hates robots, and he's just like, I'm just gonna dance.
Like that's
I'm like,
really
so,
out
you
of
know what?
character
I'm
for
okay.
him.
Should we
But,
watch
like,
that
all-
one next then?
There are only 2 episodes right now. Yeah.
It just
So,
aired.
Yeah, it just started airing. I like it, but that's just because the main character is interesting. I mean, he's pretty much Ninja Batman, sort
I mean,
of.
that's a good reason to watch something.
It,
Well, like,
I watch
like-
just because I like the characters.
yeah, I've been reading it, and it's good. The only problem with it, I would say, is that it has this weird, what's the word I'm looking for? It has a really hard to sell plot. Like it's kind of like, have you ever seen like Psychopaths or Ghost in the Shell?
Yeah.
I've seen Ghost in the Shell.
It's kind of like that, where it expects you to be like, look, you're either gonna put all of it in, or you're not gonna like it. It's like
Yeah.
you got to be really into this story, or you're just gonna hate every aspect of it.
I really like Ghost in the Shell, so anything that even comes close
People
usually feels
should
pretty
like
good.
Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah.
They should. It's probably like the most intelligent anime that exists.
Standalone Complex is phenomenal.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, Ghost
I
in the
mean-
Shell is up there with Akira, and that it's like if you want to familiarize yourself with anime,
Oh,
you
Kira
have to
is like
watch this.
I
Those are like the
don't-
3 unanimously positive things in anime, or like that everyone kind of agrees on, right? Or like Ghost in the Shell, Akira, and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
yeah, for the
Yeah.
most part. Any like basically any Miyazaki movie, people just go like,
Oh,
yeah, that's
right.
good anime.
Well, yeah, that transcends
the Borrowers
anime.
one was bad. I didn't
The
like
Borrowers
that one
wasn't
much.
that great. I think like I
It's too
just got done.
westernized.
I actually just got done watching Grave of the Fireflies for the first time, and that one's just brutally sad.
It's
They all
really
are.
sad. I don't. Well, okay. Grave of the Fireflies is like you need to set aside some time to process
Yeah.
that one.
Because that's the Atom Bomb movie, right?
Yeah,
That's
that is.
yeah, that's the one that's Japan's perspective of World War II, and you're like, I don't even need this right now. Like, my life is going good. I don't need to be brought down by your sadness.
But I mean, I would say that like Miyazaki films, I think that they're beyond like what I would consider anime. Just because,
Well,
like,
he's
when I
just
think
Japan's
of anime,
Disney.
I think of stuff that's like
Yeah,
mostly
the,
made
the,
for
the Disney
TV
of anime, right?
and serialized. I mean,
that's-
he is. Yeah,
He's
that'd be a
Walt
way
Disney
to
of
put it.
anime.
Yep.
I
mean,
would
that's-
say that he's come into his own beyond
Well,
that.
yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean that
Yeah.
like growing
I mean,
up, his idol
he's
was
just
Walt
an
Disney.
analog.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
an analog. That's a good way of putting it.
So,
Yeah.
am I the only one that watched Kaiji out of this group? Besides the fact that Andrew watched it presumably before
Yeah.
the
I've
recommending
seen
in the
all of
first
it.
place?
I haven't watched it. No.
So to explain what the show is, Kaiji is a show about a guy who basically I think he co-signed on a loan and inherits a huge amount of debt basically when that person defaults, and gets pulled into a Hunger Games style thing where like rich people pit poor people against each other to try to pay back their debts. Where half the people can try to, where the end result is basically going to be that half the people are going to have their debts resolved, while the other half are basically just going to be even worse off and get pulled into like indentured servitude to work off the rest of it. And
Yeah, like you have to take on debt to join the Hunger Games. So like on top of the debt you already have, you have to take more debt
yeah,
out.
you have to borrow the money that you're going to gamble in the gambling for the competition. Because instead of Hunger Games where you're fighting to the death, in this one it starts off with what they call restricted rock paper scissors, where everyone gets rock paper and scissors cards. And you go around the room and you can challenge people to matches of rock paper scissors where you play a card against your opponent's card blindly, and the moment you play a card, it's gone forever, and so there's a set number of cards of each type in the room. So it's a mixture of like gambling and statistics going on, and all these mind games, and people trying to figure out ways to like play everything against each other in the room. And it's like the premise is interesting, and I actually like I'm into the story and how they tell a lot of the things and like how it pays off. Holy fuck, does it have the worst pacing of a show I've seen in an eternity? Because
is it slow or what?
It gets slower every episode, like every episode, to the point like it gets to the point where like every additional like each challenge or scenario they set up for the show tends to last, say, 5 episodes or more. Like the first one's probably the longest one, and then the rest are like anywhere between 3 and 5 episodes for a while. There are individual episodes where one move happens.
Yeah.
In the entire episode of 20 minutes.
Yeah, the pacing is tough.
That's
the
bad.
episodes like aren't even 20 minutes long in some cases, because they will spend sometimes 3 minutes of the episode having the totally pointless narrator recap the events of the previous episode in excruciating detail sometimes.
That narrator's got such a good voice, though.
He's got a great voice. You could delete him from the entire show and have no effect on the show.
Well, that's
true. He literally will repeat stuff that people say, to the point where at one point Kaiji says, "I'm mad," or he thinks that or something, and the fucking narrator says, "He's mad," and I'm like, "God damn it, narrator!" And then he says something else, and the narrator repeats him again. And I'm like, "Narrator, you're so pointless. Go away."
I love that narrator. He just comes out of nowhere and wastes time.
Yeah, he just says stuff that people already say. He repeats and explains the stakes of everything that you already know again, and like
it's an anime for kids. You know, kids are dumb.
But it shouldn't be, because it's horrible and graphic and terrible things happen to people.
Yeah.
And it's brutal.
I mean,
and
like Van Helsing shouldn't be for kids, but it is for kids.
It is one of those, it's definitely one of those things where this is only for kids in Japan.
Yeah.
This comes to the United States, and it's going to have a very different rating, because people are getting like limbs taken off, or they're dying horribly.
Yeah.
Like,
it's really interesting because the other series that same person did called Akagi is like, it's so much opposite of that, where it does like it's all about mahjong, but if you don't know mahjong, fuck you. Like, it's not about you. And they won't explain they won't explain anything that's going on. Like, he'll do some crazy move and you're like, how did he do that? And you're waiting, and it just goes like, yeah, I win. What did he do? What was his move? I don't get it. And it's like the announcer's like,
imagine if like Yu-Gi-Oh was like that or something, where it didn't bother to try to sell the toy.
Yeah, like basically imagine if you're watching like a Pokemon battle, and then like no one's explaining that Pokemon are doing moves. You just see Pokemon attacking each other, and then one wins, and you're like, what happened? Like, I don't understand. Did they just beat each other up to the end? And like I knew nothing about mahjong. By the time I was done with it, I still knew nothing about mahjong.
Wow.
Like somehow Joe and Kel like actually took a book and learned mahjong while I was like watching this, and like at the end they were explaining moves to me, like, oh, I know how he did that. He did that. You know, it's worth 3 points. And I'm like,
are you serious?
I was like, are you guys kidding me? I don't know. That's 3 points. It's just fucking 3 peacocks. Like, what is that supposed to mean to me?
Three goddamn peacocks.
That's basically the opposite
go.
of how most anime treats those types of competitions, where they usually abstract it.
Yeah.
But like, there's always still like. But it still has the weird tension pacing, so it's like everybody's like looking at each other like, and then someone's just like, It's
Is that the one where the character has the massive freaking nose?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I think I've seen stills from that.
The massive nose that's not from Kaiji?
Same guy.
Because he's also got the giant nose. He just likes noses.
The Akagi guy looks the exact same.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, the Akagi guy just has white hair instead of black hair.
So, like, it's weird. Like, I think I would almost recommend Kaiji because I like the story and where it goes, and even, especially its ending. Like, I think it actually nails how to end that kind of story in Season 1 and have it actually be, like, character-driven and based on what you know about an existing character and what's going on there. And it's actually manages to be tense because all of the consequences for screwing up are so bad in most cases. It's
there
just,
is a lot
I wish you could watch it on double speed without fucking up the audio.
Yeah.
Because, man,
it's like,
it takes way too long for every episode to happen.
if you read the manga, it's a lot shorter just because they don't
I
have to deal
imagine
with the
so.
superfluous
Mangas
bullshit.
are almost always a lot
but-
shorter than their
Yeah.
animes.
But it's
Basically,
just really
it's a
unfortunate.
25-ish episode series that should have been one of those 13 episode series.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
That's-
what's weird? One thing is that I wanted to bring this up when we were doing the intro outro thing earlier. Like, Kaiji has like one of the best intro and outros I've seen in a show before, because it has this intro music sequence that is straight up like this. It's garage rock, and it's all shouty and like punk music sounding, and it even ends with like a series of shouts in the song that are actually mouthed by the character on the screen, and it all works. It all fits together perfectly, and you see it fits the frustrated how frustrated the protagonist is throughout the entire series. And there's a very somber outro song that looks like it sounds like something you would hear during like a Tarantino film, like it'd be background music for a scene of Kill Bill or something. And it's just and it's these nice little atmospheric videos. And what's baffling about that is that season 2 rolls around, and suddenly you have screamo metal music that goes into super auto-tune territory with a terrible intro. And then the outro of Kaiji Season 2 is some character that looks like it's probably a guy in drag trying to flirt with Kaiji, and they're having quirky scenes or something, and it has nothing to do with anything I've seen in the show so far, and completely contrast the tone. And I'm like, what did you do? Did like Season 1 not quite do well enough, so they completely panicked and like tried to capsulize it better with a different and much worse intro and outro?
It's an unfortunate thing where like there is only so much music that they can grab for anime.
Oh god.
So sometimes like when they're sometimes they just go like, look, we need a new opener for this, anime. This is the kind of music we're looking for. And then if you get like one or two responses back of like, I got the screamo song, I mean that's all I got, and it's like, well, we'll just roll with it, fuck it. Like it's like that's why you'll notice like you'll see a lot of animes that don't even like there's certain animes like One Piece or Fairy Tail where they like change their openers like every arc, and like you're big, you can have the money to do that, but then when you have smaller smaller animes, you'll notice like music is so drastic between seasons. You're like, what the fuck happened?
Attack on Titan Season 1 and Season 2.
Oh yeah, very different.
One is that super iconic song that everyone thinks of for Attack on Titan, and the other one was like a German anthem, I think.
Yeah, it was just basically a really boring German anthem.
Yeah, it was.
And it's like
for me, like I'm used to the J-rock intros that happen all the time, where it's like, it's fine, and it's like catchy enough, but you kind of get past it. Like the slightly worse versions, all these intros that are basically like slightly worse versions of what Fullmetal Alchemist has, basically. But the original Kaiji intro stood out to me as being up there with like the Ghost in the Shell intros of like, these are so different from anything I've seen in an anime intro that I'm like, it's gonna stick in my head as like this thing that like was the exception to all the other anime intros. And then but unlike Ghost in the Shell where they did another song from the same artist, and wow, look at this, Kaiji just says fuck it. Yeah, they just go to one of the worst intro songs I've ever heard.
Another one that has a really good intro song that fits it really well, even though it does not look like it at all, is Watamode. If you look up that, I wouldn't recommend watching it because it's definitely not something you'd get a kick out of, but the opener for it is like when you're looking at it and you're looking at the character in regards to like the song, you're like, this is such a juxtaposition, but it fits so well with just the animation that's going on in the opener, and everything works so well that's like, this is a really good opener, but like everything just feels really weird about it at the same time because it just doesn't look like an opener that would be playing during this character being here. But
yeah.
So,
do
that
we want
happens
to try
a lot.
to pick a new anime?
So somebody in my chat proposed a idea for an anime.
I know Chad has said the words do rah 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 rah.
I'm trying to process what exactly the hell
Baccano.
they're saying.
Baccano's pretty good.
The money of
Baccano's
soul and
alright.
possibility control.
No.
I don't know what these words mean, man.
C is kind of interesting. I don't know if it's weird.
It's kind of tough.
Mushishi.
Mushishi? You want to do Mushishi?
I mean, it's just my favorite anime.
Oh, I don't know.
Be afraid.
Well,
I
Mushishi
feel
is
like I should be afraid right now.
no.
Actually,
Mushishi is
Mushishi is,
really. It's
really tame.
It's like basically if you want to kick back and just chill out for
I'm seeing
like
images
30 minutes.
of a guy with white hair in a forest that looks like he
That's
hikes.
Mushishi.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it looks
He's
like,
like a
it looks
shaman.
like the exact art style from Gangsta, actually.
Yeah, it does
Yeah,
look
it kinda
super
does.
similar.
Berserk? No.
That'd also be really long.
I do want to watch Berserk at some point because it's the inspiration for a lot of
Read.
stuff in
Read
It
Dark
is like,
Souls.
it's literally
and,
why Dark Souls exists.
yeah, Dark Souls and
Yes.
Dragon's Dogma both
Okay.
take a lot of stuff from Berserk to the point
I
where
should
check
that
there
out
was
too,
there
then.
was 2 Berserk
Dragon's
armor sets in
Dogma
Dragon's
was
Dogma.
written. Dragon's Dogma was written by the Berserk author.
Oh,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Berserk guy is really amazing, but also the shittiest person on the planet. He like, so okay, here's some backstory to Berserk. Berserk's on a kind of hiatus, kind of not hiatus, and it's been like that for
Oh
like
yeah, we last episode
years.
we covered the
Yeah,
horrible
but-
schedule of Berserk.
this.
No, I think we were talking about Hunter x Hunter, but then compared it to Berserk as similar. But yeah.
Maybe yeah.
Yeah.
We had
And,
we
like,
had a calendar involved.
That fucking guy, I hate him.
Yeah, that was
so
Hunter
much.
x Hunter, but yeah.
Every season I see a new show by him and I'm like, why are you making this moe garbage bullshit? Stop it. Make your Berserk. It's so much better. And he's like, it's hard to think of a plot. Like, yeah, I know. Stop like resorting to
They were
cute girls
stuck
doing
in a
cute
boat
things.
for like a year and a half
I mean,
or
that's
something like
I
that.
think that's the problem that the Walking Dead author runs into. Is he's like, this
Yeah.
thing's still ongoing after all these years, and he's like trying. I think that only one issue comes out per month of that comic because he's trying to figure out where the hell to make the whole thing go next.
I'm
mean-
looking at some stills from Berserk, and this is Dark Souls.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
My understanding is that Berserk
Like-
is to Dark Souls what Warhammer is to Blizzard.
Blizzard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blizzard Entertainment.
Basically. Yeah. Like there are like direct enemy comparisons
Yep.
between like
There
the
are
demons
armor
from Berserk.
sets.
Although I don't think that Dark Souls has a rape horse yet.
No.
No. Berserk
Well,
still goes,
unless
it's
Berserk goes
Ludwig,
above
unless
and
it's
beyond.
The
Ludwig.
answer is yes.
Well, yes. I suppose. They have a lot of thunder attacks. I can tell you that much.
It was a more metaphysical rape.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
We spent like 3 hours there specifically just to get Bird through.
Oh yeah, it was really cathartic to watch.
That's good.
I warned you guys, and it was nice to see other people suffer
It was actually
when I'm not having
surprisingly
to do
like
it.
easy on my end. It only took a couple of tries, and then just
Oh,
the
yeah.
The
Bird
problem that we
side was
had
just...
was
Now imagine doing it
internet
alone.
issues on my end. Because when it came my turn to get through that area, that's when my internet started having the problems.
Right,
which
that
made
was
it-
the issue.
Yeah.
Hey, Wander,
Yeah.
are you watching a Jin?
No.
Okay. I was curious if you were gonna pick that up or not.
So I actually haven't really gotten into this. Ooh. The answer is yes now, but
Ooh.
Yeah, a Jin's really cool. A Jin's such a really cool concept, but it's the only thing I don't like is the anime does that like weird 3D thing.
oh. Well, they're doing that in
Yeah.
Dimension M as well, or Dimension W.
Yeah, Dimension W has it sometimes, and Berserk, the new Berserk series coming out is going to be like full on 3D like that.
You know the one that's really weird that I didn't like? It was like Bada Baka or whatever. BDBR or whatever. Oh shoot. Let me look this one up. It's one of the new seasons. I was trying to watch it and it was awful. But
Oh, it's from this season?
yeah, it's from this season and it has
Oh, God, the rape horse. No, please.
Oh, God.
what's it called?
We're just sharing
Oh,
horrible
God.
Berserk images now, apparently.
Um,
I was
gets-
okay but not seeing this.
I mean,
That's Berserk.
like
apparently.
Berserk starts heavy-handed as fuck. Like you start Berserk and it slaps you in the face. It's like you're in the wrong house, bitch. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, oh God.
That's what Dark Souls does.
Yeah. It's like, please forgive me. I didn't know what I was stepping into. It's like, well, you're in now. It's like, okay.
It's like that's what it's like seeing the Asylum Demon. Like you
Yeah.
picked the wrong game.
It's like, well, can I leave? No, there's no leaving.
You know what I want to get into? And this is stepping a little bit away from.
I want to get into being
Anime.
a millionaire.
Oh,
But I
just,
wanna s-
just to go back to my point, Bubuki Baranki. That one's all in 3D and it just messes with my fate, my mind.
Bubuki
Baragi?
Baranki?
Is that what
It's
you
really
said?
bad.
I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
just saw the link that Andrew posted.
Where is this?
He posted
Oh,
a
yeah.
link that says women putting herb balls into vagina to detox their wombs have been warned of
Oh,
dangers.
yeah, I saw that earlier
we
today. I was
saw
just like,
that was on Reddit, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
Where'd you
I was
find
reading
this?
that, and I was like-
r/not the onion.
yeah.
it was like top of all, so...
Oh,
I
I,
just
know
heard
what you're
Lady
talking
Bird
about.
scoff.
Read this
Oh
one.
man, yeah.
I don't want to read this one.
Bookkeeper.
That is cool.
You know, another like I'll say another one I'm watching that's complete utter trash is Dagashi Kashi. Dagashi Kashi. It's like it's just about some fucking
Oh,
kid
that
who,
one. I read the manga
yeah.
for that.
That was the
was like-
aura that Bird gives when you could literally be making stuff up and he wouldn't know the difference.
I'm just,
Actually-
I'm just listening. That's just
Yeah.
me saying,
Uh,
please continue.
So here's actually a I don't know if it's good or not, but Grimgar is a new one this
Grimgar.
season. All of
Should
the
I say
backgrounds are
aha, Keith?
watercolor. Like the
I'm
plot,
just saying
the
because
plot's
it's the same thing
kind of
I'm thinking.
the plot's kind of meh, but I would recommend at least taking a look at this one. Hi to Gensho no Grimgar, and just watch like 3 minutes in the middle and just look at the backgrounds. They're gorgeous.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
I love
yeah.
how I can just type in complete shit into Google and it'll always translate it into the right anime I was looking for.
Yeah, that's usually
this
how
is-
anime works.
This is what I
The
typed.
internet's filled with thousands
Here,
of
if
Americans
you're-
who don't know how to spell animes.
If you're looking for an easier way to find it, just go there.
That's what I typed in.
All right, so we should
And
reel
it
we
gave
should reel
me
this
the
in
right
before it
thing.
keeps
Well,
going.
Grimgall, it just got sucked in by Grimgall, and there you go. Yeah.
I guess. I typed in Grimgall. Not
Oh,
even,
Jesus.
it's Grimgar. It has an R at the end.
Actually, it's they
Oh, right, yeah.
interchange L's
Yeah.
and R's, so
Yeah.
it's the same.
Okay.
The
It
light
does-
novel
I
has
forgot
trouble.
that also translates over
Wait,
into writing.
did someone just recommend the melancholy of Haruki
Har-
or Haruhi?
Oh, yeah.
no.
People
No
are saying a
one's-
lot of things.
No one's
Someone
gonna
said-
start that. No one's
Yeah,
gonna
somebody
start
did.
That.
What,
No one.
Suzumiya Haruhi?
No, that's
no
the
Yutsu?
melancholy of Harui.
Yeah.
Don't start Harui. Don't do that to yourself.
So are we gonna
Like,
watch
it's-
Mushishi?
If
Is
you
that,
guys
what
want
is that what
to.
we're doing?
Try an
Yes.
episode of it. See if you
I
like it.
think it's chill enough that you might enjoy it because there's not I can
Nothing
confirm
happens.
I can confirm that nothing is like really boring or bullshit about it, but it's like there's no like obscene plot you have to like follow and characters you have
There
to
is
like
no
really...
plot. All of the episodes
Yeah.
are completely standalone, which I actually really enjoyed.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a basic
it out.
like it's a basic brew yourself a cup of tea and just sit back and relax and have a good time. Like
Nice.
All
You don't
right,
have
so
to worry
our
about
anime
shit.
book club of the week is Mushishi this week.
Yeah.
man, I feel bad because like you guys are recommending anime. I've already watched all this shit.
Oh, that's fine.
That's going to
Chances
happen.
are you've
the whole
watched all
point
of it.
premiere.
Period.
The whole point of this
Yeah.
is basically like Bird and Keith learn anime. Is pretty
Welcome
much
to
what this
anime.
became.
Andrew, haven't you been watching the premiere of every season of anime for several years now?
Yeah, I've literally watched like the first season of everything that comes out. Like my anime list is awful. My anime list is just full of such garbage. But that's my life. What do you want, dog?
But
So
for
this
us,
is
it's a
an
wild
anime-
new adventure where you're going to recommend us stuff so we don't have to look through it all.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. No,
this
no
is an
girls
anime.
bravos for you.
But what I really want to get into is the Zatoichi films. You've heard of these, right?
No.
So-
Films?
Oh, it's a series of films. They've been making them for like 30,
I don't know, but I
40
just
years or
misspelled
whatever.
it and Google corrected me.
And it stars it's about a character who's a samurai who's also a massage therapist, and he's
Oh,
blind.
no.
Oh no.
And it's about him just like trying to do like martial arts shit, but like he just keeps winding up in hijinks because he's still a really good martial artist, but he's still blind.
Yeah, I got
So-
three cutscenes in, and I'm like, I mean, images in, and I'm like, this is a comedy, right?
Oh,
Probably.
it's definitely a
Yeah.
comedy.
Kind of.
It's a
Yeah.
comedy. Another really fun one to watch if you want to like a way back like really crappy Japan style television is look up Kaker.
Oh, yeah?
Kaker's so garbage.
Kikai.
Kikaiter.
Isn't that Sentai?
Kikai.
Yeah, well, I think there's an animation. There's an anime of Kikaiter, and then there's a live action of Kikaiter.
Oh my god, what am I looking at?
Right? Oh, Kikaiter's
What the
amazing.
hell is this?
Kikaiter
This is
looks-
awesome.
Yeah.
Is this?
It's
What?
It's in the time of like it's by the same guy who made like Ultraman.
What's it called? Sentai.
Sentai. Yeah.
Sentai.
Yeah, it's basically by the godfather of all like Ultraman-esque kind of heroes.
Yeah.
He looks like a
This
French
is definitely
flag.
an Ultraman thing.
Yeah. Oh, it's so fantastic to watch. He like cruises around on a motorcycle and just like jumps off the motorcycle and it just vanishes, just gone forever. And he just transforms in midair and kicks someone in the face, and they're just like, "Get Kaidar!"
Jesus Christ. Yeah, if you're only listening to this, imagine something that looks like a Power Ranger,
Oh,
but it's
God.
also a robot. Like
It's like they took 2 Power Rangers and cut them in half and put them together.
I'm
Yeah.
watching the first episode, and it's awful. They made the floors out of styrofoam just so they could break through them.
He looks like he
Yeah.
definitely looks like a clockwork Power Ranger.
Yeah, that's a great way
he's
of
weird.
putting it. I'm watching on YouTube right now. There's episode 1.
Oh God,
Jesus.
the actual like
This is a Power
costume
Ranger
for
built-
season 1. Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh sweet Jesus, this is terrible looking.
Oh yeah.
This
It's-
guy's a
know what?
Power Ranger
Oh
built
my
by Harley
God.
Davidson.
You know what? I've got display capture for this very reason.
Oh no.
You're welcome.
My
You're
face
welcome,
cam is now
internet.
becoming Kikaider.
Oh
Alright.
no.
I
My
would do
face
the
cam
same
is now just
think
thing.
we-
Kikaider
I
for the
think we
rest
wrap
of this
this up now.
episode.
His motorcycle has a sidecar that's 4 times bigger than the motorcycle, and it flies. What the fuck? What?
Yes, I love Kikaider. Kikaider's great.
The best
How
part
does
is
Japan
Keith,
have this
Keith
many
is
damn
forced to
gravel
use my
pits?
face cam for this one.
was
So
a
we
good-
get
yeah.
Kikaider in this podcast.
Yeah, and then the video gets taken down forever by obscure
If
Japanese company.
if this video is up on YouTube and hasn't gotten taken down, I think we're safe.
Kikaider.
All right, guys. So this has been our 3rd podcast.
Yeah, I guess that's a good
Kikaider!
We still don't know what
It's Kikaider.
we still don't know what to call it or what its structure is.
Kikaider cast!
But this is happening. Oh.
I can't tell if the actor can see things. It looks like he's watching.
It looks like he can't.
I don't think he can. I think he's completely unaware of what is going on around him. He's
I
just punching and
imagine-
kicking.
I imagine you can see very, very vague shapes, and there are people just off camera that are just like gesturing which direction he needs to run and pose at next.
Yeah.
I think they take the face off for all action scenes and have him face away. Because I don't see the
It's-
glowing eyes in the action scenes.
For the most part, I think what they do is he just has like a headset, and they just say like, go left, go right.
Yeah,
roll.
that's what it looks like. The way he moves is it's very reactionary and sudden.
Yeah. Like
I like the
it's someone-
camera here. It is totally just like a dude with a camcorder sprinting around in the field.
Yes.
It's so shaky.
Old school
That's great.
Japanese
Really
found footage
shaky.
monster movies.
It's basically like during that era when everything was done, like filmed in some weird, like empty parking
Gravel
lot,
pit.
and
Yeah.
like the budget was like $30, and like
Weird.
everybody had to bring their own supplies. Like it was fantastic.
Cardboard ninja. Oh no.
These special effects are amazing.
I
Thanks
know
for
that we need
watching,
to formally
everybody.
end the episode, but I can't
It's-
stop watching Kaker.
God damn
I'm
it.
so glad. I'm so glad I recommended it.
God damn it.
No.
The podcast is over right now.
It's a visual tour de force, man. You just
It's-
you don't even need to have the sound. You just watch, and it's just like
Wait!
stuff
Oh my
keeps
god!
happening.
The
That's beautiful.
villain died, and they dropped like electrical junk, including the covering for a light switch
Yeah.
that had been spray painted.
I told you, it's just a bring your own shit to work day. I just filmed it.
And then he
fantastic.
drives away in his dinky little motorcycle.
His motorcycle is the shittiest vehicle I've ever seen.
It's fantastic.
For a superhero, quote unquote. This is great. I'm not watching Musishi. I'm watching this.